Today, I'm going to offer a little simple guided practice which helps to establish a sense of safety and homeostasis for the nervous system. Safety is a really important biological need. Um, we cannot grow, stretch, develop without safety first. Um, as one of my teachers would say, there's two agendas that our biology has, our nervous system has, and the first is safety and the second is growth. So we really can do both. They don't have to be at odds with each other. Oftentimes they feel like it. And it's kind of this paradox that in order to do the latter, the growth, we have to start with the former. And developmentally, that's the first thing that we're really meant to feel. There's lots of reasons why we don't, both um, from personal familial reasons to larger cultural and environmental reasons. But where I like to start in any kind of nervous system work is reestablishing safety and attunement. And a lot of that does happen in our environments. It happens in the space between ourselves and the things that we relate to in our lives. It also happens within us in our own relationship with ourselves. And one way that is very, 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 very simple and easy starting tool to just give the brain, body, and nervous system a physiological sense of safety is the orientation practice. And this is basically just connecting with our environment through the senses. And the reason we do this is because our brain and our nervous system want to be mapped in our environment. That's what's natural for us. If you think about, for example, an animal, a wild animal, a group of animals out in nature somewhere, they're always listening, looking, hearing, scanning, feeling, sensing the environment. There's natural ways that this also connects to a healthy sense of posture and a healthy sense of everything in our body aligning. But it's kind of secondary, right? Because a wild animal in nature isn't necessarily thinking. When we say, so I'm gonna look around or check in, it's more something that's happening organically. And it's different than hypervigilance. There is a place for that, obviously, if there's danger involved. That's why we have this bias towards unsafety, because there was a reason that our bodies were imprinted with this beautiful survival mechanism to alert us when we put our hand on a hot stove or when there's a predator chasing us. We want to feel fear. We want to look around and find the escape hatch and all of those things. But how do we have automatically a sense of our environment that then leads to those moments that alert us without us needing to think about it? Oh, now it's time to pay attention because something's happening. Instead of being in a position where we're doing that all the time unnecessarily, which is kind of a chronic trauma pattern, right? And you can probably relate to this in how you might be someone who catastrophizes or worries about the future, or that such and such might happen, or that, or that just kind of feels a general sense of unease or easily startled. And all of that is so, 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 so valid and so worthy of compassion. And I have so been there. And ironically, one of the ways that we can help support that to let go and to have more sense of safety is to actually let the body and the brain and the nervous system do what it's trying to do and being connected to the environment so that it's kind of automatically doing that in an easeful way so that we don't have to kind of overcompensate by being hypervigilant. And we can trust that if there really is a threat, our body will alert us and we don't have to control the process. It will just happen. And so to align with that, we kind of want to start to change our habit of connecting with the environment from being something that is a focus-based thing to being something that's more of a receptive kind of a thing. So as you can see, like I'm already starting to do it a little bit here now. Automatically, often we'll find that our head and neck starts to swivel and move a little bit, instead of like the hyper-focused on one thing from doing computer work, whatever that might be. There's a spacious kind of curiosity and a letting in through the senses, through the eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and sensory of like not internal body, but like what's does the body feel as terms of texture. Um, that can happen in a sort of simple and curious way. Um, and with a sense of like, not I'm trying to do something, but more of a sense of like, I'm curious if I were to allow myself to be contacted through my senses by my present environment in a way that is trending towards soothing myself, feeling a sense of just a sense of place, a sense of simple presence. Um, what is that like? So I invite you to join me if you haven't already, and just allowing yourself to open your senses as you're sitting or standing or lying, listening to the video. You can start by noticing sounds, even just the sound of my voice, for example. There's a way that you can listen in which you're not just listening to my words and the content of my words, but also just the sound, like the sound of my voice, the cadence of my voice, the rhythm, the S, the consonants and the vowels, and just, and the way that that sound maybe is also one sound in maybe a handful of other sounds. And there might be some loud sounds around, like if someone's talking in a room nearby, a kid might be playing in the other room, or a pet, or there might be some sounds outside. There might be some really quiet sounds, like the humming of a computer, and even some really, really subtle sounds, like of our breath. And then we can also move into our sense of touch. So like maybe noticing the temperature of the air and where it touches your skin or your clothing, maybe the texture of your clothing. Maybe there's a pleasant sense of pressure where your back is against your chair or where your feet are touching the floor. Just bringing in some of that. Maybe there's some smells you smell. Maybe there's some tastes you taste. And finally, with our most strong sense, which is seeing, trying to allow for a curiosity in which you don't even name what you see. Maybe you only just even allow your eyes to kind of follow the contours of shapes and observe colors of different kinds that maybe are appealing to you, or something shiny versus dull, or round versus flat shapes. And one way that you can notice that this practice has had an effect on creating some safety is that you have a deeper breath like I just had. So now that was it. That was a simple practice, orienting, connecting to the environment through the senses. And one last piece that you can do, and this is something that you can do really anytime. It's a nice go-to for simple regulation. Like if you're starting to notice you're getting anxious or you're getting too over focused on a task and it's creating some fight or flight in your system, or if you're starting to feel a little bit of pressure because you're in a conversation with someone that's intense, um, you can always sort of give yourself a little bit of modulation, a little bit of space from ramping up too fast by practicing this. And you can do it so subtly. You can also do it intentionally, like, hold on, I need a moment. But you can also kind of weave this into your everyday life in a way where you're just doing it more and more. In fact, you should enjoy it, hopefully, because it's very soothing and it feels very good to get space in our nervous system in our world where there's so much hyperstimulation. And you start to get some power back too as you train your attention to observe the things that are actually soothing to your nervous system and get better at having boundaries around the things that don't. Like, for example, a lot of times, like if I'm out and there's like loud game show or something playing on a television screen, usually that doesn't feel good to my nervous system in particular. It might for yours, but for mine, it usually is kind of like disruptive. Um, and so I can practice training my attention to something else and allowing my attention to kind of land in that other thing and let that thing be informing me instead in the environment. So, yeah, I'd love to hear if you have any feedback in the comments about maybe even just one word or phrase of how you felt after the practice, if you noticed any shifts. And yeah, uh, please practice this as much as you want. It's a practice that continues to deepen and deepen and deepen and um, can actually, believe it or not, take you to some pretty profound places, as simple as it is.